Hello there. This is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. That is the exact card that we will be making using the Hydrangea Hill Suite Collection. And we are going to go through that real quick. This is an entire suite collection. There is our stamp set. Great sentiments in here. They're a little bit on the smaller side, except for 3 of them, because we do have that little tag in the die cuts, and those are what our die cuts are looking like. A lot of them are standalone. That strip of flowers on the left, right above the left there, and there is our designer series paper, which is gorgeous, by the way. So the colors in this are Rococo Rose. First of all, though, we have mercury glass paper in here, and that comes in Rococo Rose and I'm drawing a blank, Highland Heather. So into the designer series paper, that is what it's looking like. So again, that is Rococo Rose, Highland Heather, Seaside Spray, Misty Moonlight, and Old Olive. And if you look at like a lot of our designer series paper lately, I love that pattern. There is a watercolor aspect to it. That's the flip side of it, by the way, which is what we're using. And you can achieve that result by stamping off. And I can talk about that a little bit later on, but right now we're going to get through the suite. So you get these great pastel pearls. They're 5 millimeters in Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Rococo Rose, and Seaside Spray. Not to mention that gorgeous 3/8 of an inch sheer ribbon in Gorgeous Grape, which is really, really easy to work with and tie. It is an absolute dream. So that is my sample card. I forgot to show you at the beginning. This time around, I just switched it up for colors. There's some really good dimension in there. And I have no idea what's going on with the light. I probably messed with it because I haven't seen the sun forever. And that is the inside of our card. So this time around, I am going to go ahead and focus on Rococo Rose and Petal Pink, which is my favorite color. So we are going to be needing Rococo Rose, Soft Seafoam, Petal Pink, and Memento Tuxedo Black. Our card base is going to be Petal Pink, but you need a piece of Highland Heather scratch cardstock. Couple pieces of, and this is important too, 6x6 or 7x7 of our regular basic white cardstock. Those are 2 3x3 squares, and again, it's really important to keep that square. Petal Pink side folding card this time. There is our designer series paper from Hydrangea Hill, and we have a Petal Pink mat with a basic white cardstock there. Yeah, skip intro. And we're just going to start moving along through this card now. Measurements, everything over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com. If I remember correctly, that is 5.5 across by 1.25 inches down. So I'm taking our Petal Pink ink and I'm stamping it off once, twice, just kind of to see what it looks like. I decided to keep it stamped off one time only. And what I'm trying to do with this is kill the white space, so to speak, because I need something in the background there without taking away from the designer series paper itself. I was going to say that's what we look like, but can't really see it right now for some reason. So I'm pulling in our Petal Pink mat, and I'm going to adhere the basic white cardstock. On top of that, they're both 5.5 across, so that is going to go in the middle of it. And I'm pulling back in our designer series paper, and I'm adding adhesive to the back of that, which is our seal. Using the Stamparatus tool like I always do in the L shape for my 3rd and 4th hands, and that is what we were looking like so far. And we're just assembling everything right now, and I'm putting seal onto the back of our Petal Pink mat there, and then adhering that right in the middle of the card. So this is pretty important. Grab a piece of cardstock, that die cut there, cut yourself out a template. And what I'm doing here is I want my top image or the floral image and then the petals in not the petals, the leaves and the stem a separate image. So when I do that, there's only one die cut, not only one, but in this instance, there's one die cut that I need to use to go ahead and cut it out of. So I'm laid down our leaves and our stem that way using that template. And so that way when we lay the flower part on top, it's going to match up with the die cut. So that is soft seafoam. And I'm bringing in our second 7x7 piece of paper now and flip it around like that. And I'm going to bring back in, well, wipe off the stamp, and then bring back in our template there, and then grab that image. This is part of Distinctive Stamp Set. And I'm lining up my template there at the bottom of the cardstock, as you can see. And it's really critical for me to be able to put that part of the flower on top, but I want the stamp extending around the opening all the way around, because I don't want any white spots in there. I get a couple here and there because that's just the way it's manufactured, but to cover up as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to stamp down one in Rococo Rose and then the other three in Petal Pink. I only need one Rococo Rose and two Petal Pink, but just in case I mess up, again, which is always entirely important, or it can happen, and that way I have leftovers too, for the inside. So I'm laying down the Petal Pink, and then I'm going to bring back in our other panel there and do the exact same thing. But this product suite collection is just so easy to stamp with. There are so many things that you can do with it that I won't even begin to touch upon. So I really encourage you to go to the internet, take a look at Pinterest, and see that everything that you can create or get a good idea from everything that's provided to you in the suite, because there's an awful lot there, especially for the price point. So that is what we are looking like. Now I want to grab that detailed image there with the line art of the stem and the leaves and the hydrangea. I always have the hardest time saying that. And I'm going to lay that right on top of our image. And this time I don't have to use the template because I just want to make sure it covers everything, because I lined up the solid images with the template, so it's all going to lay down okay and die cut okay. I'm not as worried about the stem as much as I am the leaves and the flower. So that is Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm just laying it down on top of our images there. So, okay, good. Finally got to speed up a little bit, a lot of bit. I am just going to end up laying down that line art image over and over again for a total of 4 times. And then we're going to get into the die cutting. This is where our 3x3 comes into, and this is where it's really important to have it square like the 7x7. Because when your cardstock is square, you can just keep rotating it around like that. And what I mean by square, I don't mean like a 3x4. I mean square as in 3x3. It's got to be the same dimensions all the way around. So I laid down the soft seafoam on top of the leaves, and now I'm putting the black ink on top of that, of the line art. And that's how everything lines up perfectly. You can die cut it perfectly and get that precision die cutting every single time when you use a template that I showed you at the very beginning, because when you see me die cut, it's all going to come out just perfectly. So I'm laying down our sentiments on Highland Heather cardstock in Memento Tuxedo Black, and I chose 2 because I want to die cut it out with the tag there that's going to be coming up. And just, it's a very small sentiment, and I wanted to make it show up on my card front. Do you have to add this many leaves or flowers or anything like that to tone it down and keep it simple? No, you can just do one and a set of leaves, or just the leaves and the flower, run it through and use that sentiment strip that I showed you, not the tag, but at the very beginning, the white and petal pink, and then run it on through. So now we are going to die cut out our tag, and one of our little leaves there, that's what we're looking like. I will take the rest off screen to die cut besides the one flower I'm going to show you, because there is a lot of stamping, there is a lot of die cutting in this, and Jezebel's also joining us because she got her bark box this morning and is having way too much fun. Since that is 7 by 7, it will not fit through the embossing machine, so I just cut it down, saving the white scraps, and then I'm going to put that same die cut on top, tape it down, making sure I get my leaves and the flower in there, and then I will run that through the die cut machine, and then you will see how that looks. So while I'm doing the basic die cutting and whatnot, I still have my buy one get one going on. There's 2 more weeks of celebration because it is ending in February of this month. So if you need anything from that, you want to pick it up, but also not only do you get celebration, you get my buy one get one free too. That is what we're looking like. I'm slowing down to show you how I cut this off. That is how I did the flower, and now I'm pulling in our leaves, and I cut that bottom stem off, and that is what that looks like. So the next frame coming up, left when you cut the first stem off, middle is after I cut it off, third is what you want to end up with there on the right. And this is how I'm going to go ahead and finish it off. I just curved my scissors for that far right leaf, and then again there, just like you see for that leaf in the middle there. And you could cut them up again if you want to. I just found it easier to do this way. So I'm showing you one more time for the different options that you have. So now is when I'm going to really super speed up and just get everything assembled here, wing it what I'm going to do. So the next 4.5 minutes we have is pretty much me just arranging everything on the card front there, seeing how I want to put it together. On the petal pink flowers, I put 3 stamped dimensionals on the back and adhering them down right now. And I used a lot of Tombow Mono, which is our liquid adhesive, for the other parts of this. And you're going to see me bringing my pokey tool, and I'm going around the edges of that because I need to keep that up a little bit in order to sneak my leaves down underneath there. And that is how I do that. When you use a liquid adhesive, you can bend what I just put in there over towards the left. You'll see that when I get down more towards the center right of the petal pink. Actually, that one too. How easy it is to manipulate the leaves there. You can cut them apart like I did earlier. You know, do whatever you need to do to get that nice, greenery going on there, and that nice full bunch over to the left. And I did that to keep the balance of the card straight too, because in the middle I have the tag. Down below that, where I just pointed to, I'm going to be putting in another leaf, and then I have this set up towards the right, again for that balance thing. I die cut out from the Mercury Glass Rococo Rose 3 of the little flowers, and I'm grabbing our white twine, and that is out of the snail bundle there, and I'm going to be putting through just a loop. I cut maybe 6 or so inches from that through that tag there. Glue dot, not a glue dot, stamped dimensional is going to go on the back, and I'm going to tuck that in there at the very top, as you can see, and just kind of leave that twine hanging a little bit. At the end, at the left, if you want to, go ahead and tie a knot. It works out okay no matter what you do. I did put down 3 glue dots that I grabbed from a paper pumpkin kit onto the back of the glass flowers. Rule of odds, I'm attaching 3 of them around the card front there. Now in the center of the Rococo Rose Mercury Glass, I'm going to put the coordinating pastel pearls, and that's going to be coming up. But in the meantime, I do want to remind you, during celebrations, also the best time to join my team. If you do, there's another almost worth of product for free that's coming up in our new catalog in June of 5 different paper packs of the 6x6 designer series paper, which you definitely want because I use that all the time. And don't be afraid to use a color in anything that you create, like I did with the Highland Heather tag there. It's part of the suite. It gives that extra pop, and that is what our card looks like that we created today. And now I'm bringing in my sample card, so you can see just by changing up the colors in any of our suites how different these cards look using the same products, but again, just different colors. And that is what I love the most about the versatility of Stampin' Up! Products. You can do anything that you want. So again, that is my sample card I forgot to show you. And that's what we did today. Everything will be over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com. Direct link in the description of this YouTube post. Thank you so much for joining me today and this week for everything I've created with this suite. I hope that you stay warm and have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you again next week for more project ideas.